everybody. Welcome back to Wicked Warriors. So, of course, you know Spanny. And there's Miss Kim. And tonight we have Stephen on. And Stephen's going to share a little bit about his story and say what he's doing. And we're going to go from there. So, you have the floor.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, for one. My name's Stephen Goodnow. I live in Marion County, West Virginia. I'm a contractor by trade. And I'm in a CPS case where I've been done completely wrong by CPS, the state of West Virginia included. So much corruption. I mean, if they start out a case by saying, if you don't sign this paper, then we'll see to it that your daughter goes to foster care instead of in your parents' house, then that's coercion, intimidation. Of course, I signed it, not knowing any better, didn't want her to go to foster care. So I signed the paper, and, they started out my case 7 days later after a 7-day safety plan by, go take a drug test. And that was where they made me pee in a cup, and they dumped it from one cup into another. And both cups said I was negative. Come back from the laboratory that I had over 47 nanograms of fentanyl in my system, enough to sedate somebody for surgery. So I asked for video footage of it to get told that I was causing a disturbance at the Taylor County Day Report, and they kicked me out of there, so I had to go somewhere else to test. And so I've been fighting with them for almost 2 years now, over back and forth over saying I'm doing drugs. A lot of blood tests that they've been using, saying I'm dirty. A lot of money that I've had to spend on my own just to prove that I'm not. And I paid over $2,000 worth of hair follicles just to prove like I'm not dirty. I mean, it did one off the hair of my head of my hair, whatever, and one off my leg hair. The lady at Preston County Community Corrections actually told me when they went to take one off my leg hair, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I said, "Why is that?" She said, "It goes back 12 months. At that time, it was August 2023. And, I've been clean since July 26, 2022. So I said, if it goes back 12 months, then that's 13 months I've been clean. So, yeah, it should be clean. So let's do this. So it actually proved every single entire test that I've ever did to be wrong or falsified or altered or whatever they want to say. And from then on out, it was still just me fighting. If I proved over 60-some blood tests to be wrong by hair follicles, actually 4 different ones, 2 for me, 2 for my wife. If we proved all these things to be wrong, then, I don't understand why we're still using them to, keep me from having visitations. It always seemed to be right around a holiday too, which really aggravated me because it could be, I could fail a test in their eyes or whatever you want to say on the 3rd. I can pass a test on the 5th. I could fail another one on the 6th and then pass another one on the 9th. And that's really not possible. That's not humanly possible to do so, especially in your blood. I ain't like I can go clean my blood out. So I'm sitting here begging and pleading with these people like, hey, like something's wrong, They actually mandated me to go get drug treatment because they said, you're clearly doing drugs. So I had to go to a Suboxone clinic. And mind you, at that point, I was almost over a year and a half clean. And to go get put on narcotics when I'm clean blew my mind. So I did it for 2 months just to comply, jump through their hoops, so to speak. And after 2 months of it, me not liking how I felt like I was just, I might as well not even started or did anything I'm doing because you got me back in the same exact boat. And I just told them, kick rocks. I'm not doing it no more. I'm not taking it. So I quit. And they said in an MDT that I have to have drug treatment. I have to have this because, of course, drug tests kept saying I was failing. So I worked it out with Valley Mental to where it's in my paperwork that they are to give me nothing. If it's a narcotic, I ain't getting it. So they actually tried to prescribe me Vistarol, hydroxyzine, to help me with sleep because I had PTSD. And I didn't take it. I didn't even feel it because I do everything like I always do with everything. I went home and Googled, what can it do? What can it show up as? And it shows up as LSD. Of course not. I can't take that. It might show up as a false positive for LSD. They've been using false positives against me this entire time. Why would I go do this? And this was after all the Wellbutrin that I was already prescribed by my doctor before any of it started. And once I found out Wellbutrin does the same thing, I started actually having less false positives. They wouldn't be like every other one was a positive. It would just every 3 or 4 months I had a positive because of the Wellbutrin or not having the Wellbutrin. And after I told her that Wellbutrin causes that, Vistarol causes that, she actually told me like that's my main 2 prescribed medications. And you understand, I deal with a lot of people that's in your same exact predicament or having to go to day report for probation or whatnot. And she says, now you got me doing my homework. And I was like, yeah, that's what it does. And she actually Googled it on a Zoom call with me because I do my thing by Zoom. And she was like, you are absolutely correct. I cannot believe this. I'm going to have to redo and check into everything that I've been doing. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm just trying to bring awareness because it's clearly altered my life. And I know countless others that it put behind bars because they were taking Wellbutrin or, took their kids. And I mean, I've been trying my damnedest to advocate for other people. I don't want to cross that boundary of, giving legal advice or however they want to word that. So I've kind of just give them documents showing like, hey, this is what's going on. This is maybe what you should give to your lawyer type deal. And I'm going to recite, like I said earlier, what my grandfather told me a long time ago is to stand on your integrity and always agree to fine print. And on that blood test, it said I failed over and over and over. At the bottom of it has a saying that the medical device is not approved or cleared by the FDA, and it should not be used for investigative or reports. It's only for clinical purposes. Me being curious about that, I contacted the FDA, and the FDA actually sent me emails showing that it's not even in their pre-market notification database, meaning that it has no FDA clearance whatsoever to be sold in the United States, which it has to have. So me bringing this to a lot of different people's attentions, I actually emailed all of my evidence to every House delegate, every senator, every Supreme Court justice in the state of West Virginia. I've sent it all to all of them. Some replies back where we can't comment on that. The only person that supplied, message back that was actually willing to help and was do anything was Amy Summers, the House of Delegates of Taylor County. And she actually helped me create a bill, House Bill 4796, which is all about the medical device in the state of West Virginia having to be FDA approved. The laboratory that does the test has to be Department of Health and Human Services certified or Clinical Laboratory Improvement certifies. And another thing, the OPANS LLC, like you can get on SAMHSA because it has to be a SAMHSA certified laboratory as well. You can get on their website and actually look up the laboratories that are certified to do such testing for the judicial system. And you'll find out that the Amassey Biofluid Collection Device, the OPANS LLC that own it, they're not on that list. The only one that's on that list that West Virginia uses is the Alere Toxicology, which used to be Abbott Toxicology. They are on that list, but that's for the urine. I have a pretty good rapport with Jason at the governor's office here in West Virginia. He's for like client constituents. And I brought a lot of stuff to his attention, and I get told, I'll give you my opinion. I can't give you my comment that I really feel about it, but a lot of the stuff he agrees with me on 100%. And another one being the sweat patch. The state of West Virginia actually has a law that says that the probationer is supposed to stay in the vicinity in their vision for the duration of the test. When you put a sweat patch on somebody and they leave and don't come back for 14 days, you're not maintaining chain of custody that way. It's not how the law is written up. Yeah, it might be better than a blood test. It might be better than a urine test. It doesn't mean that you're still abiding by what you put in your law, because they're clearly not in front of the person for 14 days. So it's still unlawful. And he's been helping me a lot. I got to actually another person I can't name, senator, that's been helping me quite a few things. And there's a lot going on that's behind the scenes that I can't really speak on, but it's going to bring a lot of different things to justice. And I'm just kind of, I don't know how to even word that. I'm in a dark place, but in a light place at the same time. And it feels good to be that part of that light, to bring the darkness to light, because evil only triumphs if good people do nothing. And I agree with that 100%. And I'm one of those good people that will, build a whole community of people that have had it done to them or are in a position of power to do something about it. Mike Stewart being one of them, that can literally change how things work in the state of West Virginia. And we're trying, I mean, a lot of stuff in my life, like I've said to you guys before we started, was my main goal is to bring my daughter home. By all means, I will fight tooth and nail. I will walk through the flames of hell and put a halo on the devil if I have to. and that's my plan. But my second agenda is to bring all those kids home that were done wrong by a blood test that's illegally sold. And
Well, hold on one second. I have a question. Um, so since you have these lawmakers that want to help clean up West Virginia, because West Virginia is under a lot of investigations right now in this very department, how can somebody, and it's for, I'm going to say the whole state of West Virginia, how can somebody get you their story so you can give it to your people so they know that it's not just happening in your county, it's happening in Berkeley County and Cape and Bridge and all parts of West Virginia?
If they send
How
it
can
to
they-
Wicked Warriors at proton.me, I will make sure Steven gets it. That way, he's not overwhelmed.
Perfect.
I was going to say the same thing.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. What really gets to me the most about doing what we all do, clearly, you know, advocate for people, is a lot of these people are so lost with what's taking place in their life. Just this past week, I had to talk a guy off of a cliff, so to speak, not literally off of a cliff, but his mom contacted me a month earlier and than he did. And, you know, I did like my due diligence, I guess you could say. I didn't want to contact him because there's a method to my madness. I want him to contact me, find that strength to actually reach out to me. And that's the first step, you know, because a sign of asking for help isn't a weakness, it's a sign of strength. And that's what I instill in people when I do what I do. And when he reached out to me and was on the verge of suicide, it just broke my heart because he's going through a similar situation. And, you know, I asked certain questions to try to stop him from going through the same exact process that I went through. And he was prescribed Wellbutrin just like me. So it was like, yeah, stop that. I don't care what you got to do, but you need to go to your doctor. You got to figure out a different way because I'm telling you, if they start doing this to you, this is what's going to happen. But it just breaks my heart that these people, me included, I mean, I got PTSD. That's no easy path at all. I've learned to deal with it a lot, but these people are going through stuff that will probably give them PTSD. And like the court systems don't want to see it that way. And me having PTSD, what really hurts my heart the most is the fact that my daughter going through this and it being in my genetic predisposition, she might end up with PTSD. You know, that just crushes me because I wouldn't wish
old
it on
is
my
your
worst
daughter?
enemy. She's 8.
Yep. She's definitely gonna have it. This is gonna carry for a lifetime. My daughter's 35, my son is 34, 33. PTSD from the whole foster care system. Yep,
Yeah.
but go ahead.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear, and I'm glad that
My bio
I've
kids,
had
30 and 32, and they both have massive PTSD and other mental health issues.
well, I've over the years since I was 4 is when I had things happen to me that created my PTSD all the way up to 8 years old. And at 16 years old, it kind of went haywire in my brain, kind of all set in, I guess you could say. And over the course of 18 years or better, seeing therapists, learning new tricks, learning new ways to cope, I've implemented a lot of their stuff, but I've came up with a lot of stuff myself. And one of the most surprising ones for me, since you both have people that have PTSD, if they're having an issue with PTSD, they're having anxiety, they're having any of that stuff that goes along with that mental health condition, might sound weird, but tell them what rhymes with vape. When your brain starts thinking about words and trying to go through the alphabet A through Z, trying to figure out what rhymes with vape using every letter, I promise you it'll help control that cognitive functioning of how that all processes in a PTSD mental health situation. Because it's helped me a lot. And a lot of other people that I've, explained that to help. It don't have to be rhyming a song or anything like that, but a poem. Literally break out a pencil and paper and write down some rhymes or some poems. And it's helped me. And another thing that's helped me is meditation. I mean, all my life, I always thought that kind of stuff was like different, and I've actually had therapists tell me, meditate, do this, do that. And I read way too much, just say that. But when I started reading a lot of like unclassified CIA documents, and it goes into gateway process and how all that stuff works, and actual like your chakras, kundalini, all that stuff. When you start using their methods that they used on military people and stuff like that, there's a method to the madness, because literally they were, building soldiers using this stuff. And, 90% of people that have PTSD probably got it from war. So it was actually what they implemented to help soldiers at battle to deal with certain situations. So I try to push that as well when I'm advocating for these people, because I know what they're going through is causing PTSD. I don't care if you had no mental health issue your entire life, you will because of this. And like you said, your kid will too. So if you can learn new methods, new ways to help you and your kid, by all means. But I know that was way off topic, but sorry.
No, you're fine. I also want you to understand that because she was in the system, she is going to be a target when she gives birth. You do understand that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They target all the females. She will 99% have a CPS case.
Yep. That was my reasoning behind probably moving back to my home state once it's over. And even then it could still happen. So, I mean,
it will, because her name's
Yeah.
going to be in a registry. Even if the case is unfounded, because she was in that system, I'm telling you from experience, she is going to have a CPS case.
right. Yeah.
And CPS, see, one of the bills that I'm working on here, and one of the things that because I've worked too behind the scenes, right? I work with different organizations, and I work with lawmakers, and I work with lawyers, and one
I
of the
think
things
we all
that,
do.
right, I think we all do, is we need here too, just like you, we need to make people aware of the harm that they're doing. They're not just harming the children, they're harming the parents, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, they're ruining the whole family. They're harming everybody.
Absolutely.
But they don't care. They don't care.
One of my, like, they always want to scream like you alienated your child, you did that. They are the definition of parental alienation. What you're doing is causing parental alienation, because I don't care what state you're in. They are all doing the same exact type thing within CPS. They are saying certain things to your child to make them feel some type of way to you. They might say they're not doing that, but when an 8-year-old says things to you that was like out of the norm, where did you get that? Where did you hear that? So they are clearly doing that, causing parental alienation. They don't want them to want to come home. They want to try to go ahead and psychologically change how they want the outcome to be themselves as a kid, and prepare them, as they would say, for what they want, their agenda, their outcome. And that's exactly what they do. And it's parental alienation syndrome. And then you created a mental health issue with our children because what you're doing, and you're saying that we are the ones that are neglectful to our child and not working in the best interest. And if it's in your best interest to cause my child to have mental health issues, then I don't know where or what world you're from,
My CPS worker used to sit in my daughter's therapy sessions with her psychologist.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And then say that she wasn't brainwashing her and stuff. It was like, why are you sitting in there?
Right.
No need to be in there. That's unethical. Way unethical.
In my case, back in Georgia, the psychologist was the ex-wife of my ex-husband's attorney. And they were still in business together.
Wow.
Party. Yeah.
Talk about a multiple relationship, ethical violation.
That's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in mine, when they sent us to do that forensic psychological evaluation, I think I can say her name. I don't see why not. Sharon McMillan is the psychologist out of Kingwood. She took on to do this forensic psychological evaluation. And my daughter was already going to, because of this stuff, to a place called Stonehenge, to see a therapist. Well, she no longer goes there. She goes to Sharon for a therapist. And Sharon is also doing the forensic psychological evaluation, and the ethical, codes of psychologists. That's what they call a multiple relationship, and she's entered into that multiple relationship, breaking her ethics codes. And like, I haven't turned that into the Board of Psychology yet because I'm waiting to hear what her evaluation is.
Well, it's not going to be good. Not going to be good. I'm telling you now. CPS is paying her. That's not going to be good.
Oh, I know. That's why I've been trying to fight for actually having videos of the psychological evaluation forensics things being done for video, because you're going to say, oh, she's an expert. We're going to take her word on it. But I can promise you right now, if you had a video in there and you showed the video footage of us with our daughter, you would have nothing bad to say. You wouldn't have anything bad to say. Proper communication, proper family unit, they brought in McDonald's for her to eat today. Anything you can think of that was done the right way, because we're good parents, was done. So I'm waiting patiently to see what that is, and I'm going to use it in court instead of turning it into the psychological board. It'll be after I go to court that day. If she has stuff bad to say about me, and she starts to say something bad about me, actually, and try to make it out to like the best interest is to go to my grandparents, I'm going to ask to speak, and I'm going to say to her, because I have the right to be heard, Miss Sharon, like, didn't you enter into a multiple relationship breaking your ethics codes? I'm going to say that right in the courtroom, because then I'm going to put her on the spot while she's on the stand under oath. So that was my hidden agenda with that. I just wanted to see where she was going to go, because she seems like a legit person, but that don't mean nothing. Everybody's different behind closed doors, and especially if she's getting paid by CPS. Yeah.
I have a question. When basically this lady made the change as far as psychologists go, who was in charge of it? Who made that decision?
One more time.
We couldn't hear you, Kim. Speak up.
Okay, so when your daughter, they switched the psychologist, right, or whatever the therapist certification is, when that decision was made to switch her to this Sharon lady, who made that decision?
The courts actually the guardian ad litem said that they want to have this done as a family unit type thing. So it's going to be, and it has been for the past 5 times, they alternate it where we go in as mom and dad with our baby, and she just sits and watches what's taking place for 45 minutes. And then after we're in there, my grandparents go in, or they do the same thing with her grandparents and my mom and dad. And then that's once a week that we do this to see who would be the better placement for her. If that would make any sense to anybody, I don't know.
Well, this Mary girl just said from what she hears that this Sharon lady has done well, and she's actually doing the right thing. Let's hope she does good for you.
Yeah, I've seen that. Actually warmed my heart a little bit to read that.
See, I want to commend you. I really do. And I commend all the people that are so proactive in their own cases. People that are not proactive and they want us to do their job for them, I get so frustrated. I am so proud of you. I don't even know you. Tonight was my first time meeting you. You are so proactive. I'm so emotional about it. I'll probably start crying here in a minute, because we don't get parents like you.
No, we never get parents rarely.
See, I've been working with him for a little over a year and a half now, Stephen.
Yeah, it's been a little over a year and a half.
Well, Spanny taught you good.
Yes, she did.
I didn't really do much. I answered questions here and there, but that's about it.
Right. But I work with another girl here in Virginia, and the only reason she's doing so well, and she'll tell you, is because when her case first started, she went on YouTube to find out what other people were going on. I was the only person out here talking about it that she could find. So she contacted me, and I started helping her. This girl is so proactive in her case. I am so proud of her too. I told her, girl, if I had 100 of you, we would no longer have this problem with CPS. And the same for you.
But I just gotta come together.
Yeah,
I have
Steven's
to say
actually
that.
pretty awesome. He runs with whatever you give him, and he actually helps me find a lot of different laws and stuff when I need help.
That's awesome. You're doing a great job. And I'm
Thank you.
super proud of you too.
Hopefully, I
I'm
can get back to my bachelor's of science of criminal justice.
happy that I'm the closest one to you. You're 45 miles from me. We can hook up anytime.
That's wild. Yeah, that's true. Right over the hill, so to speak.
Yes, I am. Literally. Oh my God. So go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting for July 28th is my predisposition case court, and trying to get a lot of ducks in a row. This toxicologist that's going to be my expert witness, looking up her accolades. Wow. Yeah, wow. She's from the University of Charleston, and she's actually had the governor's acknowledgement or whatever that was called. So she's got a lot of good stuff going for her. So she's well renowned, in the state of West Virginia, has governor's recognition. So to be the person that's going to be my expert witness in my case gives me a lot of hope. God works in mysterious ways, and to bring me the perfect lawyer at the right time, to bring me the perfect toxicologist at the right time, to a lot of people I've seen here. I can't remember her name. Mary Bradshaw actually commented, like if that's the case with this psychologist, even better, bring the right people at the right time. And I actually seen one say that Stephen's going to be the game changer, and I hope you're right. I pray you're right, because that was my hidden agenda, like I said from the beginning. Because it's not just me that it affects, and I've never been the type of person to think about myself. That's why I like doing this, to help other people, because if it could happen to me in the ways that it happened to me, and there's other parents out here that are literally be done worse than me for less than me, like there's time that there comes a time for change, man. And if, like I said before, evil only triumphs if good people do nothing. And I refuse to sit around and do nothing. I'm going to be proactive as I can possibly be. I don't know if I said this on the live part, but I will walk in hell and put a halo on the devil's horns if I have to, for my kid, for all the kids. And that's my plan.
There was a case in West Virginia. It was a custody hearing, though, but it doesn't matter, because everything that I see with the laws, and I always apply them to CPS and child support, right? How can we use this? Anyway, so what happened was they said joint custody, but dad only got the kid, like it wasn't joint. So when your lawyer tells you that you can't appeal it all the way up, that's wrong. Because let me tell you what this guy did out of West Virginia. He said, absolutely not. That is not joint custody. So he took it to the West Virginia Supreme Court. The West Virginia Supreme Court said the lower courts erred because joint custody means 182.5 days. Dad is right. Dad gets 182.5 days, as does mom. So don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't take your case just because they don't know. They should know. It's because they might not want to do all that work, because it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I just want you to keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
And I'm telling you, your lawyer also needs to bring up the fact that the West Virginia Department of Family Services is under investigation anyway for not doing the correct stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Whole lot going on here in West Virginia all at the same time, and it's probably that veil they say about to be lifted. Like I hope I'm part of that. I really do.
That balloon is about to pop over there in West Virginia.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know if your governor is running. I don't know about your state, but anyway, that governor Justice, he is under the gun right now. Everybody's looking at him. Everybody in the nation's looking at him.
Yeah.
He is crazy.
Yeah, now he's running for Senate.
Who was your judge?
Sean Nines, Judge Nines.
Have you done your research on that judge?
Yeah.
Fair, not fair. Listen to CPS.
I don't think he's a side with the state or side with the prosecutor or side with the state agency
I
type
haven't
judge.
heard anything bad about that one.
Me neither. And actually, in my courtroom, he had stated that I usually side with the state agencies, but today I'm going to give you a pre-improvement disposition here, period. So he already didn't side with them because they already wanted to terminate my rights, and he said, no, we're going to do this. And this is after he found out, because he is entitled to get told what took place, me turning him into the Judicial Investigation Commission for everything taking place in my case. So he went ahead, hey baby, he went ahead and give me that improvement period. I don't know if that's why or why like any of that took place, honestly, but he didn't side with the state, and I'm thankful for it that he didn't, because it allowed my lawyer disciplinary board investigation to proceed further. It allowed the U.S. Attorney General's investigation to proceed further, and I don't think, I don't even want to say this on here, but I'm going to. When I've seen Judge Nines at the gas station, winks at me, Mr. Goodnight, how you doing? Just winks at me. When I've seen Judge Nines buying alcohol at the gas station, kind of constricted me a little bit, because like, you drink alcohol? I mean, alcohol impairs your judgment. I don't care who drinks, right? But if you're in a position of a judge and you drink alcohol,
he's allowed to do that.
Yeah, I don't know if you were buying it for somebody else, so I don't want to sit here and tell a false story.
I don't think he's allowed to even acknowledge you if he's the sitting judge.
I agree. I think that, yeah.
If we're sitting out back of the courthouse and my wife was doing her community service that she was mandated to do, then he tells me just let it all pan out in court. Wink, wink. Let it all pan out in court. Like, them
I don't know if
things
that's
is what,
good or bad.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. That's what has made me, okay, I don't know what to do from this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to turn everything into the Judicial Investigation Commission that I have. That way, even if you get told, hey, we're investigating you because Mr. Goodnow did this, now it's in your head. Now I've got in your head. Psychology 101. Let me get in your head a little bit and show you what I'm trying to do here with all of my FDA emails, all of my CLIA emails. Even the actual owner, Kenneth Lewis himself, has a scholarly PhD article on Google saying that one of the major problems with the blood test is failure to dry the blood spot. That being said, if it uses Astrone 226 collection paper, and you can look up Astrone 226 collection paper, and it states that it has to be dried for a minimum of 3 hours before packaging, a minimum of 3 hours. In order to maintain chain of custody, they have to put your little signature on a piece of sticker and go over top of it, all within like a minute. So they completely ignore policy, procedure, or toxicology to maintain chain of custody, altering every single drug test, making them inadmissible, unusable. And I turned all this in to multiple different places.
Hold on a minute. So did you say, I got to ask this. I just want to make sure I heard what you said. So you turned the judge in too, correct?
Yes.
Why hasn't the judge recused himself?
Because it's West Virginia.
Yes.
Okay, but wait a minute. That's why he's being so nice to you and winking at you, and because he knows that they're watching him. So I have a real good feeling that your child is coming home in July.
Me too. And there's reasons that what I did it the way I did it. I told my old lady multiple times, like, it's like playing chess. Like, there's a strategy to war, and CPS, you have to have that strategy. You have to have other people helping you with that strategy. So anybody listening, please do so. And that's what I've done from the very beginning. I've made a strategy when to turn in certain things. I already had it planned for months and ahead of time, but I was waiting for certain things to take place because it's kind of predictable. So when those certain things take place, all right, now we can implement this into the equation, or we can change this and we can do it this way. So I've been doing that strategically this entire case. And now we're coming down to the boiling point. And like I said, I've been handed the right people at the right time. And I just hope all of the work that I put into doing this doesn't just benefit me and my children, it benefits everybody in West Virginia, because we all in West Virginia know how corrupt it is. We know that the Title IVE funding is literally paying for kids. We know all this is taking place. And when you have legislatures actually backing you, trying to do things, trying to change things, if their laws that already exist are being broken, because they clearly are, state laws, all administrative laws, common laws, it's all being broken. If that's already taken place, and these legislators are that branch of government that, you know, make those laws, of course they should be pissed too, because you're making laws that your own people are violating. So when you present it to them that way, it hits them a different way than just, oh, I'm in a CPS case, they did me wrong, they did me like, no, you if you did anything wrong, accountable yourself, but approach these people the way that they see things, which is in law. So approach them with like the documents I give you, approach them with other research yourself, and try to make a difference. I mean, that's what I've been doing. So
I have another client in West Virginia, and this one works at a restaurant, and the judge goes in there all the time. That's on her case. So does the CPS worker, and I believe the guardian ad litem. And one of them actually asks for her constantly.
I
When
would
she's
spit
not
in their food.
that is horrible. That is horrible way to do that
She
to
makes
them.
sure that she's not the one that serves them.
Well, I mean,
I would
it's
spit in
horrible
their
that she's
food.
doing that to her. That they're doing that to her. Like, you're putting her on a spot, you know, like really making her feel some type of way in there, and you're specifically asking for her. That's all conflict of interest on all of their behalf, you know?
Yep. Only one of them asked for her. But yeah,
So have you pulled up your state constitution?
That's where I get my due process that I've been complaining on and on about.
Well,
oh,
listen.
I'm sorry. It's the bailiff,
um,
not the guardian ad litem.
I would spit in their food. I'm telling you, I would be that petty. So, when you go to the lawmakers and there's codes and statutes that quote unquote CPS uses, you need to, this is what I'm doing. I'm pulling up the state and the federal constitution, and I can look at the codes and statutes, and I can read it, and I'm instantly, I know this is a violation of this one in Virginia and this one in the federal one. That's how I'm approaching it, because the law, the Constitution, the federal Constitution is very clear. There is no law, statute, whatever that can contradict the Constitution. Any law, statute, code, whatever, you know what I'm saying. If it contradicts the Constitution, it is not enforceable. So use that too as a tool to help you. I'll help you.
That's when you enact the supremacy clause, the law of the land, the Constitution, because it overrides the state constitution.
Well, not only that, I'm saying when you go to your lawmakers and you say, look, this needs to be changed. Look at this statute that they're using, or look at this code, or whatever. And then you pull up the state constitution. And if you can't find anything in there, that's when you pull out the big one and say, but this one right here is not enforceable because it's contradictory to the federal constitution, the superior law of the land.
That's why that House Bill 4796 was made, because the federal
you go.
constitution says that it has to be FDA approved. You know, the state's constitution don't have that. So that's why that was amended onto that bill. And it didn't pass. It's like 25% deadheaded in the House. But, you know, they're having all these special sessions with CPS and all this craziness going on. So hopefully they bring it up in that session. Told Amy Summers to.
Well, yeah, because now I'm seeing that they're holding a special session in West Virginia to keep kids from being homeschooled.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was part of Selena's case, remember? Part of the reason why they took her kids was because she homeschooled.
But they can't do that because the Supreme Court of the United States, which, and I saw this thing yesterday when I was reading on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court pretty much told the United States that they are the law. Okay, they said it. The Supreme Court of the United States has made a statement and said they are the law because they deal with Constitution, right? But the Supreme Court of the United States has also said that parents have complete control, everything. Education is part of that. It is not up to the state to decide where your child gets an education.
Not at
So
all.
if the legislative body passes that, you need to rally up your little troops over there and be like, we need to no, it can't be enforced.
Yep. Agree. I think I read that.
Yep. So I'm pretty calm tonight, Spanny. I think I'm doing pretty good. I haven't only put my hands on my head once.
Yeah, that's also because he's got one of the easier cases. No offense, Stephen. Probably doesn't feel easy.
Yeah, I know for him
Yeah.
it's not, but I'm very proud of him.
I mean, it makes me happy to hear how much you have stepped up and to take care of the situation and found help for yourself. And, you know, as we all did at some point, but it's so refreshing to have, for lack of a better word, new blood and to find somebody who's doing what you're doing.
I'll say this about doing everything I've been doing. They hate me. They
That's
hate me with a passion,
That's a
and they've
good
used
me
it
too.
against me. They
You
say
want
I'm
the job.
combative, I'm argumentative, I'm this, I'm that. And my statement back to that in court was, how do you read text messages and say I'm arguing with you? You can't read a message and know how my tone is. You can't
Oh,
read a
yeah.
message and know what my perspective is.
You are a chip off the old block, if I do say so myself.
So look, go on Amazon and get you a hat that says King on it.
Yeah.
Walk up in that bitch.
Absolutely. I will.
Yeah, Stephen knows I have his back, and once everything's done, I was thinking about if Tiffany's up for it, bringing him in as an actual person with us in Wicked Warriors.
You know I wouldn't
Would
have a
love to.
problem with that.
Yeah.
Would love to.
Especially in your state. Because Fanny hates West Virginia. I
Oh,
hate
she
that
knows.
state.
Yes, she does hate West Virginia.
I call it my pain in the
Take it from
ass state
somebody
for a
from-
reason.
Take from somebody from Baltimore, Maryland. I hate West Virginia too. I just live here.
Everybody
You're
knows I
from
call West
Baltimore?
Virginia my pain in the ass state.
You're from
Absolutely.
Baltimore?
Yeah.
My dad was a police officer there for 32 years in Baltimore County.
Awesome. Awesome.
Every time I call him about a CPS case, he cusses my ass out. Tiffany, you know, damn gun involvement, the Constitution trumps all that bullshit. Why are you playing with these people? Sell your house and leave.
He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. Not at all.
Ain't nobody running my ass nowhere. They hate me here too. That's a good thing.
Yep.
That
Well, I've never
means that
set
you
foot. So here's the funny thing. I've never set foot in West Virginia, and they hate me there.
especially Judge Safer. He hates Fanny.
Oh, and Carrie Poirier. I got a threat from her actually still in my messenger from about 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I still
Judge
do
Schaefer
that.
blocked me. Judge Schaefer blocked me.
I think he blocked me too that day.
He probably so.
Well, of course he's gonna block y'all because y'all are putting the truth out and he's trying to keep it undercover.
Well, when he tells his people that are in his cases, like there's a zero tolerance, I don't care if the cutoff level says 0.5 and your drug test said that you had 0.4, you're guilty.
What?
You do know that cutoff levels mean like, yeah, it's supposed to be anything under it, so you can't do that, but he does. He does.
Well, I hope you let your legislative body see. You guys get to vote for your judges, right? Oh, ours are not elected; they're appointed. It's harder to get a judge appointed off the bench versus voting them in and out.
Yeah, we just had Judge Hoaxie in Taylor County become the judge there as well, and I think he's over Barber County, and then Judge Nines is staying in Taylor County. But you know what's funny about me turning Judge Nines in to the JIC was the fact that 2 weeks after I turned him into the JIC, the Judicial Investigation Commission, guess where he ended up? He ended up at the West Virginia Supreme Court as a set-in judge. to sit in and listen on cases at the West Virginia Supreme Court, because his business background, because his judge background. To me, it was like, okay, so you're sending him to be around all these Supreme Court justices, and you're probably telling them, hey, we got Mr. Goodnow's emails. Okay. I think we might want to do this, because it just seemed like it was just a coincidence that, I turned him into the JIC. I turned all this stuff into the Supreme Court justices. And next thing you know, I see on Newsbreak or a news article that my judge is now sitting in at a U.S. Supreme Court of West Virginia. Now he's around all these people, probably having lunch,
See, what our
They can
problem is Schaefer is he used to be on the delegate board. And so we can turn in 500 JICs and nothing happens. They just swipe it underneath the rug.
Well, there's a lot to those JICs, and mine I knew was going to be dismissed. I really did. I was hoping that they would have took extra looks at it because of what it was for. But mine was all about a drug test. The judge can't be held accountable for a drug test. It says it right in their JIC complaint form that that is not something they look into. But they sure held it for a long investigation before denying it, because I've heard people get it back pretty quick. But I knew it was going to be denied. But like I said earlier, my whole intentions was to get them looked at, to get it looked at, the entire system in Taylor County. I mean, when they dump from one cup to another, they kick you out because you're asking for video footage, to make an old lady bawl her eyes out in there because they made her drop her drawers, bend over, cough, accused her of having a device in there, countless things, like literally treating her like a criminal or whatever. And she come out there bawling her eyes out. You got to hurry up. You got to hurry up. You only got 5 minutes. Well, I got in trouble because I posted the actual laws of probation, and she has 3 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. She has 3 hours to pee. So why are you sitting here making her cry and bawl her eyes out saying you're going to give her a positive because she couldn't pee in 2 minutes? She does have a urinary problem. So where do you get off? Well, that got me bitched at. That got her bitched at. She got kicked out of Taylor County Day Report program after I did that on Facebook. Yeah.
Have you read your state's bench book yet?
State's bench book. I don't know if I have or not. I
Okay.
don't think.
So Google West Virginia bench book for judges. Read it, but only read the parts you need, right? Because Virginia's is 662 pages. I only went to the parts I needed, dealing with family court and all that. Also, look up the canons, which is the ethics for the judge, and start making complaints using the canons, right? Because there's a lot of them. One of them is, can they be trusted? Absolutely not.
Did we lose Steve?
I think his phone fell. Uh-oh.
I'm here. My phone's about to die, y'all.
Well,
So
stay on as long as you can.
Okay.
I'll re-add him back here in a second.
That's fine. Yep. Judicial canons. And everybody should be reading their state's bench book. It comes out once a year, and it comes down from the state Supreme Courts. You might be able to find it on uscourts.gov. You might be able to find it there. But you can Google it, because I Googled my state book, my bench book for my judges.
Justia might have it too.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he lost his phone. He's having to put it on the charger.
Probably.
I don't know. Well, he's doing really good. He only lives 45 minutes from me.
He is doing good.
He is doing good. And I
I'm
wish
like
more
super proud
parents,
of him.
I wish more parents were proactive like him.
Yeah. I think so many parents are in shell shock,
Yeah.
But, I mean, and then, typically they are shocked that it can even happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, sorry, I'm going to plug my phone on.
That's okay.
But I mean, I think that's a huge deal, that they get, like, I hate to say this, but like deer in the headlights. Like, they're in such shock that something like that can happen in the first place, you know?
Mhm. And then you got CPS who gets shell shock when parents like me, because I don't take any shit off any of them, not even the judges. I don't care. I don't care what
Oh,
your fucking status is,
me either.
right? And like
I
you
know
and
he's
like
like,
Spanny, we don't
you,
care.
yeah, I
And
don't
then
care.
everybody's like, "Oh my God, they're belligerent." Oh my God, yeah, I am belligerent, and I do not consent to anything because I don't have to contract with any government agency, nor
Right.
do I have to follow any ordinance, rules, regulations, statutes, or codes because I'm not a government employee.
Right. Let me ask y'all something. Can you, for that hearing, do any of y'all have connections there in West Virginia to try to get some media on it?
I don't. Spanny might, because Spanny deals with West Virginia all the time.
Christina
Yeah.
might.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
Christina
I
might.
would try to um somehow somebody
Uh-oh. Then we just lost
with that.
Kim. Oh, there you are.
Am I here? Okay. I would try to get some media attention on it because I think he's going into waters where it could be either really good or really bad. You know, because and it sounds like to me, I mean, it's kind of weird that all this stuff with this judge, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I have
Um,
knowledge that a whistleblower in West Virginia has gone missing and nobody can find her the
Still,
day she had court. So there is that.
yeah.
But
I mean, and that's, I mean, I just think he has lit a huge fire, which I'm super proud of him. I mean, because I did the same thing. I can, you know what I mean? I'm proud of him, but I just would love to see some media attention on it, as corrupt as the media is and whatever. You know, some
yeah,
media attention, I think would tend to keep him safe.
there's a 50-50 chance Christina's watching this right now. So
Okay.
Christina, if you can comment and let me know if you can get media there, that would be good.
I wonder why he
Because
hasn't
I
gone
think
to
that
the
would be
Journal.
huge.
The Journal is one of the
And I
papers
mean,
over
it's
there.
not, and it depends, like to get the media there, are they going to have to apply to come in the courtroom because it's dealing with juveniles or no?
That
Um,
again is a 50-50. It depends on who the judge is and how good the judge is.
Okay.
and if he wants to,
Well, that, I
if
mean,
he's
that's what
not
I
going
would
to do
try
the
to
right
do. And
thing.
at a minimum, I would get somebody in the media to call down there and ask questions and stuff like that, even if they're not allowed in the courtroom.
Oh, don't worry. If Steven goes missing, he knows that I'll be hunting his butt down.
No, I know. And I get that. I'm just saying, keeping him safe, bringing the child home, doing what's the right thing. Like all of those things. And a lot of times the media attention will help, especially in the climate we're living in right now. I just think that could be a huge asset. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes,
All the
and
way
he
around.
should realize that he is going to have to start watching his surroundings, and the people he's close to need to do as well.
Right, right. And
Retaliation.
especially the grandparents.
Yeah, Kimberly, whatever law that it says that is supposed to be allowed in West Virginia, don't always think that they're going to abide by it because they won't. It's West Virginia. There's a
Right.
reason I call it my pain in the ass state.
Well, I mean, but every state
Oh,
does
I
that.
wasn't talking to you, Kim. I was talking about
Oh,
Kimberly in the comments.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, but I mean, all the states are corrupt. It just depends on the judge and the circumstances you find yourself in. And I think that, I mean, I hope, and I pray that Stephen goes in and gets his day in court and all that kind of stuff. It just frightens me for his daughter, for him, for his parents, you know, because he has lit a big fire and we just want to keep,
Yeah, he's
um,
strong though.
yeah, okay, good. That's good.
If it was some of my other clients, I wouldn't even suggest it and I would have stopped it. But he's strong and he'll go for it.
Okay. I think that's good. I just, you know, ultimately I'm concerned about the child, you know, because that's just me. You know, I want her to be able to come home to her parents.
Yeah.
I would love to help any way that we can, you know, and I'm afraid, I guess my concern or fear or whatever is that they will do something to him in order for her not to be able to come home.
Well, yeah, that's why they're using, now they're
Whether
saying
it's
that the
put him in jail
drug
because they're
tests don't
mad
even
to,
care.
whatever.
Hmm. Well, I
So-
wanted him to come out with this drug test stuff because it needs to be said, because I have many clients that have never done drugs a day in their life, and West Virginia keeps popping them positive.
Wow.
Like
Well,
one
they
of my
do-
clients that
I
I
wonder
had
how
on
many
with Dawn's
states-
show constantly,
Uh-huh.
Dawn was afraid that she was doing drugs and she wasn't doing drugs, and she proved it, and she has all 4 of her kids back.
Oh, that's awesome. I wonder how many states are using that same test.
Well, that's why I
Well,
wanted him to come out with it, because the more people that subscribe, like this, share this, and get it out there, the more
Right.
kids we can save.
Right.
Well, they did a drug raid in Kentucky, South
Yeah, I
Carolina,
mean,
and
it's just, I'm
Virginia.
so curious to find out how many states actually use this test, because that could be, I mean,
Well,
not just for
it's
West
the
Virginia, but everywhere. Because I
It-
can guarantee there's got to be at least one more state using it,
Well, listen, it's not just the test; it's the facilities themselves.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep. I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear you.
But it's not
So,
just the
I mean, I
the
just,
test.
want to help them all. Want to help
Well,
everyone.
another thing that West Virginia does is they hack clients' phone numbers or phones a lot, and that's CPS.
And that's a
Oh,
federal
wow.
offense.
Yeah, we've caught it quite a few times.
Y'all need to
Yeah,
be
because I
turning them into
know
the FBI.
here in San Antonio, they were, now it may be something different now, but they were doing the hair follicle test. Here, and I don't know how valid that is or not, but I haven't heard of them doing the blood test, which they probably should, but or some, not that test, but some type of test. It seems
There he
like,
is.
hey, he's back.
Well, it's West Virginia. He might be back. It's a reception issue.
Oh, gotcha. Hi,
Oops.
you're back.
I'm back. My phone didn't give me no warning, but it just said poop dead. So now I'm hooked to the cord.
So it's
It
Kim.
usually gets dark
So
and all
am I.
that good stuff. It didn't do none of that.
That's okay. We just been talking about different stuff. Also, you need to tell your legislative body to look into the actual facilities that are producing these tests, because Drug Corps, and it was like Kentucky, it was 5 states: Virginia, Kentucky, North Carolina or South Carolina, and 2 other states. The FBI raided these places for falsifying drug tests.
Yeah, I've read those. Yeah, I'll have to look those articles up and send them to her. I've been doing
Yeah.
a lot of investigating into OPN's LLC. They've actually been in a couple different lawsuits named as a defendant, and then got took off of the defendant list. I've actually turned them into the FDA. Turned them into a couple different places. Yeah, I can't think of the names of them at the moment. But yeah, clearly what they're doing. Actually, I turned them into Astrom.com. They're the ones with the paper that's on it. I turned it into them, exactly what's taking place as well, because you can look up the patents for different devices that use their paper. They all have that letter of certification, so they can use that paper. And this is the only one that you can't find that exact certification for that one. So that's probably what another one of the main goals for me is, to do exactly like those cases you're talking about, is to expose that laboratory for what they're doing. And I went the different route, I think, compared to those ones, which, I mean, I guess it is the same exact route because it's being exposed by the government themselves. And actually, I've seen a lot of articles about the FDA themselves. Somebody working at the FDA that's in the investigative unit actually was, accepting kickbacks for allowing certain things to happen, and he also, went to jail for it. So it's one of those, like, if I turned this into the FDA almost a year and a half ago, then why ain't they done nothing? Like, what the hell? I mean, if they're sending me the info showing me that it's already, it's illegal and it goes into their file as a complaint, then why ain't they? It always says on every email they've ever sent me, and I probably got eight different ones. It takes 6 months to a year investigation for them to do what they're doing. So, I mean, if they're, and I know for a fact that OPANS, just like you said about those other ones, it's used in Virginia, it's used in Maryland, it's used in West Virginia, it's used in Pennsylvania, it's used in Ohio, and that's just the ones that I've seen. So if this thing is used, because it says right on their website that it's for your every judicial need, how many other states is using it? It'd be just like those other cases. So hopefully that's what happens too. I just want.
Well, I have those articles. If you need them, you hit me up because I'm friends with you now in Messenger, just like I did earlier. I will send them to you because I got them. I keep all that stuff.
Good. Yeah, I'll definitely take them because I'll send them to her and tell her that's exactly what I'm shooting for. Because I mean, if there is a class action lawsuit started over this device, and if, like I said before, if it's took countless people's kids away and it's put countless people behind bars, then that's all going to have to be opened back up. Like every one of those cases is going to have to be brought either in a Supreme Court fashion as like a class action lawsuit. Like, okay, these are all the cases tied to this device. What are we doing? I mean, that's what's going to have to happen.
Well, I'll send them to you tonight.
Cool deal.
After the live, I'll send them to you.
Okay. Yeah, I swear when I started this live, it was 35%. So I don't know how it went boom and went off, but
That's
it's charging.
Okay. Spanny,
Yep.
it's an hour. We can end the show if you want. It's up to you.
That's up to Steven. Do you got more to say, dude?
If you're watching the show, don't hesitate to reach out to me if you're not really doing drugs and they're using a blood test and it's saying that this is that, or a couple different cases like they didn't even actually put their prescription on the blood test. So like if they're not looking for your prescription and they're saying that you are inconsistent because that medicine is in your system, that's a positive because they didn't label your prescription. It's countless things. Just please reach out. If I don't answer right away, I promise I will. Sometimes I'm a little complacent when it comes to certain things, but that's normally not one of them. So I usually reach out pretty quick. Keep your head up, man. There's a lot of us out here fighting the same fight, the good fight, as a lot of people call it. And it takes more than just, one or two or three or four to have an army of people that's fighting for what's right. And,
I'll make it easier on Steven. I'll put a group chat together for us. That way we can just invite you to the group chat. That way it doesn't have to repeat itself a lot.
Okay. Yeah, works for me. And just keep your head up, man. Like, just reach out because, that's a sign of strength. Don't let anybody tell you that asking for help is weakness because it's not. The stronger you are, the more you'll ask for help.
Just one thing before we go. Have you contacted any of the media to come to your hearing? Because they're all over CPS right now. They are dogging them out over there in West Virginia.
Well, supposed to be hearing back from NBC. That's tied to a lot of different things, and I'm really hoping that it is the full report because I'd love for them to be there. But I've reached out to a couple different ones, and that reminds me, I'm glad you said that. I had an individual that wants me to reach out to him as well, pending the JIC, their decision. So since they denied it, he said either way it goes, I want to do a story on that because I mean that's part of the problem too. If you're going to put investigations just like CPS in their own hands, then nobody's really holding anybody accountable. Because if I'm your best friend or I'm your coworker and you're leaving it up to me to investigate you and get you fired, we had lunch together for 3 years. I'm not going to say anything about you bad, and that's what's taking place in CPS. Nobody's holding each other accountable because they're investigating themselves.
Well, I think on the media front, I think it's super important for you to do that. and I would start contacting more media. I would find your good investigative reporters in that area and start contacting them and sending them stuff. I think it's super important, Stephen, for you to have that.
Well, a lot of
I would definitely, I mean, I can, if I can get more of the facts of your case, I don't mind making the phone calls because I'll call and call and call until I talk to somebody. But I need more information. But
Steven, get a hold of Christina Knapp. She's in my group chat in Wicked Warriors. She'll probably have a good idea on who to get involved with the media for you.
okay,
She's
sounds
in
good.
Charleston.
Cool. Right at the Capitol. Oh, and I am going to be giving a speech at the Capitol on July 28th. Prayers for foster care. So
Well,
I'm
then you
going
know
to be
who I'm
doing a
talking
lot of,
about.
yeah, a lot of what I've talked about today will be talked about there as well.
You're going to go to DC?
No, I'm going to go to West
Charleston.
Virginia's capital, Charleston.
Okay, good, because you couldn't pay my ass to go to DC right now. There's kids dying at red lights. 3-year-old shot in his car seat. 12-year-old, 17-year-old. No, sir, I'm not dying for the. I would die for a child that I was protecting outside of DC.
right,
Not trying to
that's
die
pretty
anytime
dangerous.
soon, right? I
Yeah.
got more work to do. Not just
Absolutely.
Good
not
morning.
going to DC.
Yeah, I have those fears myself going to Charleston, to be honest, with a lot of stuff that I've been doing. So I get it. I get it.
Well, we're just going to pray for God's angels to surround you and protect you.
That's right.
Absolutely. My most loved guardian angel is my son, and he's always there.
Oh, I love that.
All right.
Carter.
Well, we can end the show now.
All right. Thank you,
If
ladies.
you guys want to.
Well, you
thank
stay on. Just
Huh?
like we did before. Just stay on, just like you did before we started.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you guys Sunday.